James, have you had any interaction with Ian Watson previously?
To be honest here, I used to go to David Lloyd Gym over near AJ Bell Stadium, so I bumped into him a couple of times and spoke to him in the gym. But that's as far as it went, really, like just speaking at games and stuff. But yeah, I bumped into him and Paul Rowley, who was the assistant at Salford, a couple of times down at the gym in Salford, and yeah, I got on with him then as well. So it's made it a bit easier transitioning into having a new coach.
How do the facilities at Huddersfield compare with what you say got down in London?
The facilities down in London were good, but they were shared facilities. Like we had to share them with other teams and stuff, which was always a bit of a pain. Whereas at Huddersfield, they've got the GTC, the Giants Training Centre, which is it's just for the Giants club. It's our own. You know, we can put our own mark on it, and we don't have to share it with anybody. Like we feel at home there. Whereas at London, we felt like we were renting the place, and it wasn't sort of our own, and yeah, didn't feel right.
Is the GTC at Stolz Hall?
It's the building behind the textile centre, just off Leeds Road.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
James,
how do you?
Sorry, go on.
How do you see yourself in competition with Adam O'Brien?
Well, me and Adam, we played against each other for pretty much most of our career. Adam's one school year above me. I think there's about 10 months between us. And I've always really highly rated Adam, and I respect that he's Huddersfield's 9. And you know, if all I want to do is come in, I want to get in the team, obviously, and if I can get on the bench, happy days, pushing for that starting spot. But if I can come in and and push Adam and make Adam work harder to keep his 9 shirt, then it's going to be better for everybody. Everyone's going to be benefiting from that.
That's what I was just going to ask. What position do you see yourself playing? Do you see yourself as a 9, or do you fancy yourself at scrum half or anywhere else?
I don't think I ever really fancied myself at scrum half. And the reason that I did play there for London was like London had a couple of injuries at the time, and I filled in there at training. And the coach, Danny Ward, ended up saying, "Oh, you don't look too bad. Do you want to play there full time?" And I was like, "Oh, you have to make a lot less tackles playing scrum half than you do up there." I was like, "Yeah, get me in there." I'm cutting my tackles down by 40 a game. But I'm a 9. Like I played 9 my whole career, and I feel like I'm a bit bigger now, and I can probably play a bit of ball playing loose forward as well.
What would you say your strengths and weaknesses are in the game?
Well, I'm quite confident, as most sportsmen are. You know, I don't really like to say I've got many weaknesses. I spoke to Rich when I first signed, and something that I sort of went away from a little bit when I signed for London was my attack, like my running game. I'm quite nippy out of dummy half. So I'd like to bring that back in. If I was going to say a weakness, I'd probably say that I haven't been as nippy out of dummy half in previous seasons, but I've spoke to Richard and Ian about that, and that's something that we're bringing back in. I'm going to be getting out and attacking a lot more from dummy half, but yeah, in defence, we've got Luke Yates, who I defended with at London. He can hit through his shoulder and hit them. So hopefully I'll be doing the same.
You're going to be playing with a pretty strong pack this time. How do you see yourself in that one? Over the last, 2 or 3 years, we've been a bit weak down the middles.
Yeah, and I can say that, like, probably previous teams that I've been in, no disrespect to them, I don't think I've ever played in a pack as good as the Huddersfield one that I've joined now. And it's quite exciting for me because there's going to be a lot of quick play the balls, and it's going to help me and Adam attack, basically. And me and Adam are going to have more free rein to jump out of dummy half and play a little bit more.
Do you know most of the squad then? You know, have you played with some of them before, or do you know them off the field and things like that?
To be honest, there was only Luke Yates that I really knew in the whole squad. But I found that quite humbling, and going into a new squad, I felt like I had a bit of a point to prove, and still now, in pre-season. I don't really know anybody, and I'm trying to prove myself to everybody, and get myself in the best shape and play the best that I can in training to get myself on that team sheet.
Did you get to know Ricky Luatelli while you were over in Toronto then?
Yeah. So I was at Toronto, but it was from like December until the lockdown started in March. So, and I don't think the Australians came over until after Christmas. So I didn't really get to know him as much as I would have liked. We went out for a couple of coffees every now and then. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing with Ricky because he is a top class player.
What sort of training have you been doing so far? Has it just been fitness, or have you started, moves and?
To be honest, it's been a bit of everything.
Right.
What Ian Watson wants to do, and Greg Brown, the S&C coach, he wants us to be able to play all of our set plays and moves under fatigue. So at the minute, we've been doing our hard running and fitness, and then going onto the field and doing our plays after we've had our legs blown off, basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've got more of the same tomorrow as well. We've got hard running. Usually it's like in blocks of 8 minutes or so. You do a hard 8-minute running block, which is a lot harder than it sounds, to be fair. And then you go into a 10-minute skill block, and you do that 3 or 4 times throughout the session. So, and everything's fast. There's no walking, and everyone's jogging between drills and stuff. And I can say it's probably been the most intense training that I've ever been involved in, to be honest.
Right.
Ian Watson said that he thought that Greg Brown was just as important, on maybe more important than some of the players they've actually signed.
Yeah,
Definitely.
He's got eyes everywhere. You're in the gym and you're on the field, and he can see everything. There's nothing that he doesn't see. He'll come up to you and he'll say something, and he'll be like, "Oh, I saw you just take that misstep. Then is everything all right?" And I'm like, "How did you? I couldn't even see myself do that. How could you see it?" So he's on the ball, and same can be said for all the coaching staff, medical staff, everyone, S&C. Everyone seems to be on the ball, which is just what we need, I reckon.
Good, that's good.
When James, have you played against us recently, apart for London?
I think I played when it went into the middle eights. I think that was 2 years ago. Oh, and sorry, in 2019, I played on Easter Monday, I think it was, when it was a really close game. I think it was 2 points or something like that. Yeah, I think that was the last time that I played Huddersfield.
One thing we always ask players that are coming into the club, or that are new to the club, is there, what did they think to us when they played against us before, either as a coach or a player? What was the strengths and weaknesses that you picked up? Can you say what the strengths or weaknesses were of that team?
To be honest, when we did our video sessions during the week, Huddersfield was always like the sort of team that they was quite technical in the defence and attack. So we had quite a lot of video sessions building into the games of trying figure out how to build up players and stuff, how to build up play. And I think on that Easter Monday, I think we scored maybe 3 or 4 tries from set plays, but which would train during the week. And rugby's weird. Like, you can go into some games without having to do much video at all, and sometimes you play off the cuff. But I always found that Huddersfield had really good scramble. So if there was ever any line breaks or anything like that, everybody always seemed to chase back and make the tackles. And if you wanted to break Huddersfield down, it was more with that set play type thing. And the way we've been training Ian Watson at the minute, it's best attack against best defence. You don't go onto a field and you don't do an attack session, or you don't go out and you do a defence session. You go out and you do your best defence against your best attack. And that way they're both improving.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
The younger players that are coming through academy, are they actually training with you at the moment?
Yeah, and I want to know what the parents are feeding them all, because they're all absolutely massive.
Yorkshire puddings.
Yeah. Well, I eat them, but I just get fat instead.
We had one of the academy. We had some of the academy lads along to a meeting, didn't we? What was it he told us? He got a huge fridge of his own, and it was full of salmon. Can't remember
Well,
which one that
you
was.
can't go wrong, can you, with a bit of salmon? I had salmon tonight actually, but I'm still not big yet. I might have to have some more.
You'll
Did
run
you-
it all off tomorrow.
Can I ask you, I was trying to work out from your answer a moment ago. Did you play in the match at Huddersfield, which was about the last match of the season, and Huddersfield just won, and that meant that London were relegated later in the. It had the consequence of London being relegated.
Yeah, I think that was the game on the Easter Monday.
Yes, I think it was.
Yeah, yeah, we ended up.
One of your lads went over under the posts, and the referee disallowed the touchdown. So
Yeah.
there was no try, and that's why Huddersfield won. You played in that game, did you?
Yeah, I was pretty gutted, to be honest, because I was the person that put the kick in for the try under the sticks.
Yeah, it was Luke Robinson that kicked ball away, though, wasn't it?
What was the London? What was the London?
What you don't know, James, is that the in-goal official was Michael Robinson's son, the chap you've just been speaking to.
He had a clear view of it, and he said, "Yeah, it was a try," but the referee said, "No, it wasn't a try." And the referee, I think, was the only player on the pitch who thought it wasn't a try, and that's why he lost. I wondered what London's view of that was on that day.
Yeah, so after the game, obviously there was quite a few upset London players, and most of the Huddersfield squad came up and shook hands and was like, "Listen, you got robbed in that game." And all of the Huddersfield players did admit that at the time, which made it worse, to be honest. I'd rather him have just said nothing at all. It'd have been easier.
So it was just the referee, Marcus Griffiths, God bless him.
So when you've started training now with Giants lads, and obviously they've been at the club, last year, a couple of years or whatever, have they said what sort of differences Ian Watson's making?
Yeah, well, they said that pre-season last year was really hard, and in general, to be honest, pre-season usually is pretty tough. But all the players that I've spoke to, and even like players from previous teams at Salford and stuff, a lot of the Salford players were quite gutted when he left, because of his man management skills. And he's the same now. Like, there was a lot of snow in Huddersfield today, and we was all struggling to get home. Basically, like we was all stuck on the motorways and stuff. And I got home. I'm in Salford Quays at the minute, but just getting over the Pennines and stuff like that, just past Saddleworth, it was quite chocker there with traffic and stuff. But Ian rang me, and I was like, "Oh no, God, what have I done?" I thought I'd done something wrong, and he just rang me up and said, "Oh, I was just ringing up to see if you've got home okay." Oh. And it goes a long way. I was like, "Oh, that's actually really nice." He's looking after his players.
Yeah.
And it helps them feel a lot more appreciated as well, doesn't it? When there's that bit of a personal touch rather than just it's just work and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, that's all I needed to know." He said, "Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow when you're getting flogged." I was like, "Oh, nice one, cheers, mate."
That's it. Setting you up nicely.
Yeah.
What time are you in on the morning then, James?
What was that? Sorry.
What time do you have to be in on the morning?
So at the minute, we've got 2 COVID tests a week. We have a COVID test on a Monday and a Thursday, and usually the COVID testing is between 8 and 9 on a Monday and Thursday, and then a team meeting at 10. But on a Tuesday and a Friday, so tomorrow, we'll have a team meeting at 9 and we'll be on the field for 10 o'clock. But usually players get there anywhere between 1 and 2 hours before training to do any like activation, muscles and stuff, just so they don't pick up any injuries on the pitch.
Is there anyone that you're looking forward to playing with in the squad in particular? Or
obviously, I'm looking forward to playing with Luke again. Luke Yates, we played together at London. I was real happy when he signed because he's every player's like dream to defend within the middle. He doesn't let anyone else make his tackles. He just wants to get stuck in, and that's a dream. But in training, like just some of the young guys at training, like I'm quite shocked. Like Jake Wardle in the centres, he's unbelievable. Matty English, I know he's only 22, 23.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Yeah, and he's one of the senior boys down at training. He's always joking around. I'm looking forward to playing with him. And yeah, a couple of the new signings, Jack Ashworth. I've never seen a person as big in my life, I don't think. So yeah, he does fit the term, giants. Yeah.
The senior boy is Lewis. Just to help.
All right, thank you.
That's not what I meant, though, is it?
Guinness is at Wakefield.
Oh yeah. See, yeah. I needed that help actually. They are spitting image, aren't they?
Yeah.
Tell me that when I first saw them together.
Yeah.
Apparently one's fatter, is he?
I wouldn't say that to his face; it'd fill me in.
It's a good job, doesn't it?
The other
He'd have to stand on a chair to say it to his face.
Well, Trevor, you saying something?
I was saying that when one gets sent off, the other does a suspension for him.
Surprised me. James, growing up, who were your heroes? Who did you look up on, and which team did you support? Presumably from all your sports, one of the whole sides, did you?
Yeah, growing up, to be honest, I wasn't really that bothered. It's quite controversial, being from Hull and not having a preference of teams, but I didn't really have a preference. I was always happy if either or did well, to be honest. But most of my friends, I'm from East Hull originally, so most of my friends would go and watch Hull KR, so I'd go with them. So I probably was more of a Hull KR fan than a Hull FC fan. But heroes, I grew up watching quite a lot of the NRL. In the old days, like with Johns and Preston Campbell and all them type players. But my older brother, who actually played Super League, he got me into the sport. He played. He only ever played one Super League game. He played for Hull FC against Catalans, but he had to retire from injury. But he got me into the sport, and I always wanted to do better than him. So I guess he's my hero because he inspired me to do well.
I thought you were going to say Kieran then.
Yeah. I wish I was related to him. I'm about the size of him at the minute, to be honest. Hopefully I'll lose a bit of weight over pre-season.
You're better looking than him.
Cheers, mate.
So who's the toughest player you've played against then?
Toughest player I've played against, and he isn't tough because he did this to me. He's just tough in general. But Adrian Morley, a few years ago, I was playing against Salford for Hull FC, and I've scooted out a dummy half. I'm only a young lad. I was probably about 18 or 19. And he's just hit me around the head with the biggest swinging arm you've ever seen. Took my head clean off. And I had to have 8 weeks off with concussion. It was absolutely horrible. So he's probably the hardest I've ever been hit.
Not like him, that.
I also I was like very stupid of me, but I picked a fight with Gareth Hock when I was about 18 as well. And safe to say, he just knocked me clean out.
Oh.
Not get revenge soon enough. So, would you say you're a bit of a hothead, or if you had a calm on the field?
I'm not a hothead, but I certainly don't shy away from a bit of a tiff. If something's going on, I'm just your typical hooker. If something's going on, you can guarantee that I'll be in the middle, grabbing hold of someone's collar and giving them a little shove in the face.
Oh, that's all right then.
Yeah.
Is that part of your tactic sometimes?
To be honest, I do talk a lot on the field. In scrums and stuff, I do try and talk a lot. And not to wind the other team up. Sometimes it's just because I'm that tired. I try and take my mind off it.
What kind of things do you say?
I like to say, like, just, yeah, nothing too rude. Don't worry. I like to be really dry, and if we're all packing down from the scrum, and if I can see that the props on the other side of the scrum are really tired, I'll be like, "Oh, I'm tired. Me, are you tired?" And they'll just look at me like, "Will you shut up?"
Oh, you look a bit rough.
Yeah, I just try and be really dry. And I'm like, oh, there's only 10 minutes left, lads, and we can all go for a pint afterwards.
You're wanting to get your way to some silverware, as most of the people, well, obviously all of the people, but I mean the measure of how you're going to get there is Wigan and St Helens. Are you going to be able to turn them over?
I mean, I'm confident of turning them up. 2 years ago, I know St Helens sent weak teams down to London when we played them, but we beat them twice. And a couple of weeks before we beat St Helens at home, we beat Wigan at home, who had a full-strength team out. And that was with London, who probably had a quarter of the team that Huddersfield have. So me personally, I have every confidence that we can turn over the big teams like that.
I'm going to say we beat St Helens in their own backyard last year.
We've beaten them before. Can beat them again.
They're all good till they put them under pressure, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what a lot of teams struggle to do is if you notice when the big teams like Saints and Wigan, and even in the grand final, it's just to-ing and throwing constantly. And if you're not a big team, usually the teams crack. But if you can stay in that arm wrestle and go to the last 10 minutes, it's anybody's game.
And then they start begging referee, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. And they listen most of the time.
Well, yeah. Yeah, they do to Wigan and St Helens. They never listen to us, mate. You better get used to that.
Oh,
Exactly.
come on, no bigger than that.
Have pre-season friendlies been mentioned at all? I know it's a bit difficult with the COVID situation, but is it the intention to try and play some?
He's only spoke about maybe having a couple of training games, but it's hard at the minute because usually you'd have training games against championship teams, and at the minute they're not training because of COVID. So there's none been scheduled in. And I think with fans probably not been allowed back into stadiums until maybe April, May time, they would just be behind closed doors. So they wouldn't have to be organised. They could just be like organised last minute on the week of.
Right.
Has somebody already asked the question about whether the players are getting vaccines or not?
I spoke to the doctor the other day, and apparently because we're young, fit and healthy, we're last in line to get the vaccines.
Right.
Yeah, we won't be getting the vaccines until like the last batch of people that get it.
Oh, well, us lot will get it before you then. We're all old.
Yeah, well,
Speak for yourself, Janet.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, well, I'm older than you.
Listen, Jackie.
Oh, what do you call yourself? It's all right, just a private thing now.
All right, you'll carry on. Not mind us.
All right.
You'll have noticed how Huddersfield do very well, get 26 points up at Leeds, and then this must form a fair part of
Where
the
have you gone,
discussions
Michael?
at the club at the moment, surely. Tell me.
You broke up a little bit there, Mike.
Michael, you've disappeared.
Technical difficulties.
Get Mrs.
We interrupt this broadcast.
Next slide, please.
With Gilligan.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Oh, has it come back? I think you were saying something about.
No,
I think you were saying something about, when we played like Leeds and we get all them points on board and then we lose by 1 point.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that kind of thing?
I think a lot of the times when that happens, and it can be said, it's not just Huddersfield, it's everyone across the board. Usually, if a team builds up a big lead at half time, they come out second half thinking they've already won the game. And it's not something that is ingrained in your head. I think everybody in general, I mean, to win grand finals, you have to be ruthless and you have to hold on to your leads. And I think the same applies in business and everyday life. If you take the foot off the gas, people are going to get back at you and people are going to get one over you. You've just got to, when you get in front, you've got to keep going.
Is that part of your training routine, the psychological side of the game?
We have every day, we've got like a bit of a video meeting session before every day, and the coach speaks about what motivates you to play and stuff. And everyone's got, like Andy Kelly, the welfare manager, sorted us out with, or not the welfare manager, sorry, the club manager. He sorted us all out with like these big Huddersfield banner, like books things anyway. And we take them in, and we're all writing down every day what we want to achieve and what we need to do to win games and win championships. And that's done pretty much on a daily basis.
I suppose is it a mentality thing? If it's happened to you before as a player, you've thrown leads away. Once the opposition get a few points back, does it start eating away with you, thinking, "Oh, here we go again"? And is there any way you can stop that once it gets into swing sort of thing?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time, and when teams concede back-to-back tries. So you've conceded a try and you're all stood under the sticks, and people don't stand under the sticks and just say nothing. People are talking about what we have to do to remedy what's just happened. And 9 times out of 10, you go to the kickoff and everyone's under the sticks and everyone's been saying, "Oh, we need to go over there and we need to smack them off this kickoff and we need to really shoot off our line and beat them." And then it comes to it, and you're that eager to get off your line and go and make amends for what's just happened. You end up making a missed tackle and they go and make another break. You know, it's catch-22. You shoot yourself in the foot. So I think it's just about staying composed, but having that controlled aggression on like after you've conceded the try.
Who is it who's leading that kind of discussion under the post there? While you're waiting for the conversion, who is it who's getting into you all and saying, you know, right, we need to do this, that, and the other?
Well, it's usually up to your captain and vice captain, and usually they will take it. But I've been involved in teams where maybe it's not them that needs to say something. And like me as a 9, I control the defence in the middle. So if the middle has been slacking, I'll be under the sticks, getting into all my middles, saying, right, we need to go here and we need to tighten it up. And the captains will be happy to listen to that. So I guess it's, if everyone's on the same page, like the people who are accountable for making the mistakes can speak under the sticks, and then everyone's good to go again.
Looking at the national side, James, do you think we've come far enough to make an impact in the World Cup?
Oh, I watch quite a lot of the NRL, and it's a different gravy over there. And as much as I want to say that we can compete with them, I think they've just got a better and bigger pool of players over there. Maybe we'll get lucky and maybe we'll have a good run, but I think we're nowhere near the level that NRL is at the minute.
Is it fair to say we could pick one good side, yet they could go out and pick, what, 3 or 4 national sides?
Yeah, I think if you go and have a look at every single NRL team, if you look at their best halfback in each team, their best halfback could go into the best team in the Super League and just walk into the team and have a starting spot. I think personally, anyway.
Right.
So when there's obviously you're competing with Adam O'Brien for a starting place.
Yeah.
Do you both get trained the same way then? Do you both get told how to play the same way, or are you allowed to be a bit individual? You know, a bit of an individual.
Well, you get taught to train a certain way, but we have our own like personal attributes. I think Adam's a really good player. I'm quite a fair bit bigger than Adam, and I don't think the coaches would expect us to play the same way. When we're training, usually you play your left edge from like your 5th middle to your back rower, and all the way across. You play left against right. So usually Adam's on one side, I'm on the other side. We're playing against each other. We're never actually training together on the same team. We're always training against each other. But saying that, we're each other's biggest fans. And I know we are competing for a spot, but if we ever do anything good, we're the first people to, compliment each other.
Commonly, a hooker seems to me is not likely to play the full 80 minutes. Is there a job share involved?
I think the way Ian Watson's been talking, we're going to play with 2 9s.
Yeah.
So at the minute, Adam's probably going to start, and then he spoke to me about me coming off the bench and trying to bring an explosive attacking game, which I've been working on in pre-season. But I think as the game goes on, I think they're on about cutting substitutions down to maybe 8 in upcoming years. And some teams might not be able to carry an extra hooker on the bench because they need the extra subs for prop forwards.
I see.
So, yeah, the way it's going, clubs might just go with 1 9 who can play 80 minutes so they can rotate the forwards more.
Thank you. Excuse me 1 minute.
Keeps disappearing.
He's going to go and ring Ian Watson.
Can't believe that. Sorry about that.
What was that?
Martin. It were Martin.
All right, okay.
But it was just him and his posing with his beard.
Oh,
Calm
hello.
down, guys. Calm down.
He's only human.
So, yeah. James, off the field, what are your interests off the field? What can you tell us about?
That you can tell us about.
Well, to be honest, this past year, I've had no interest whatsoever with the lockdown. Going out for nice walks in the countryside, but that's about it. But no, me and my girlfriend are looking to buy an house at the minute, so we've been viewing quite a lot of houses back in Hull. I like to watch a lot of telly and have loads of naps. I'm watching The American Office at the minute. I've nearly finished it. It's a good watch. I recommend it. But also Steve, the welfare manager down at Huddersfield. Here's another thing that's like Huddersfield has been really good with. Like the support that they give to players for when they finish and when they want to retire is it's the best I've ever experienced. And I've got a meeting next week with the welfare manager and someone from Future Smart about maybe starting a master's and doing some higher education, which the club have organised. So yeah, hopefully I can start that within the next couple of months.
What are you hoping to study?
Yeah.
So I think the initial course would be a leadership module, level 7 leadership, which then would lead into a master's in business strategy, which would be with Huddersfield Uni. So fingers crossed I can get that over the line and start on with that.
So
how long is your contract with the club, James?
2 years. 2 years.
Good.
Looking back to your time with London, did you play the £1 million game where you beat Toronto? And how did that feel to be promoted?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I didn't actually play in the £1 million game, which I was absolutely devastated about. I had a groin surgery at the time, quite a graphic injury, to be honest. Landed on my knees and my groin just completely snapped off.
Ooh.
I needed to get. So what happens when you rupture your groin? It coils up and goes down by the bottom of your knee. So they had to open my groin up, get hold of my detached groin, unravel it, and then drill it back into my pubis and my pubic bone. So I had that done during the £1 million game. So I woke up, realised we'd been promoted, and I was really happy, but quite sad because I imagined how good the night out was going to be afterwards.
Could it be worse, I suppose, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Could it? It sounds awful, that operation.
It could have been worse. So what's your, you spoke about Toronto, what's your opinion of what shall I say, that experiment? Do you still think do you still think there's a place for him, or do you think it's kind of run its course?
Well, obviously playing for London for so long, I've always been pro expansion, and I've always wanted the sport to expand. But with Toronto, it might have been a step too far, as in we should expand closer to home first and then grow it outwards. And I think the fact that we're still an M62 sport, like in the UK, shows that maybe going over to Canada might be a bit too much. Maybe we could expand to Cumbria, have a Cumbria team in the Super League, go to the North East, Newcastle, have a Newcastle team in the Super League, and maybe expand in the UK before we try and expand internationally.
I agree.
So, was it just the logistics and everything that you felt were wrong, or you're not against Toronto as such, like probably like most of us. You're probably not against it, but just realise the logistics are not going to work, are they?
Yeah, and the thing was though, and just the whole setup, the club didn't get any central funding from the leagues, and the owner was just ploughing money into the club, and it wasn't a sustainable like business model.
No.
They wasn't getting any of the Sky money, and something had to something was bound to happen. They couldn't expect to just keep ploughing money in and just losing money like that. And then obviously the global pandemic happened, and the rest is history. I think that just finished the club off, to be honest. But I'm pro expansion, and the idea, living in London and then signing for Toronto, the idea of going and living in Toronto and playing over there, like it really captured my imagination. But then I got 8 months down the line with no pay, and I was like, oh, I wish I didn't have a vivid imagination because I wouldn't be here.
Did you get to play with Sonny Bill then?
Yeah, I played 2 games with Sonny. And really nice guy, like ultimate professional. I can appreciate a man, and he's a very good-looking bloke. Looks after his body, absolutely spot on. Couldn't knock him. I thought there must have been something wrong with him. I went into training every day, and I was trying to find something wrong with him. Couldn't find anything wrong with him. I was gutted. He's just perfect.
Gushing praise.
What's it like, James, playing alongside a man who's probably all that money in his pocket that you'll never see in your life?
Oh, it's true.
How do you know what?
Yeah, no, win lottery.
Hey,
I'm studying. I'm going to start with Trevor here. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's here.
I'm going to start studying business strategy soon, mate. And watch out. Watch the space. I'm going to open a coffee shop or something.
This time next year, he'll be a millionaire.
Millionaire, yeah.
Well, I hope he is.
Yeah, we all are. We can help Ken out then a bit, can't we?
Yeah, we would, wouldn't we?
I hope he's got a grand final winners medal on his sideboard and all.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, that'd be a dream come true. That. I'm wrong side of 25 now, so I've got to do it soon. I've got to do it soon.
You're knackered, mate.
Honestly, you're all looking at me thinking,
no hope for you.
You're all thinking, shut up. But I feel so old at trading now. I'm 26. You got all these 18-year-olds running rings around me. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I need to retire soon.
New grand final that he can do.
Yeah.
I need another 2 years out at least.
I'm only kidding. They are quick though.
Would you prefer the Challenge Cup or the grand final?
I think grand final. I'd rather win a grand final simply because there's only ever been 4 teams that have won a Super League grand final, and it really winds me up. I'm sick of it. Saints, Leeds, Wigan, and it was Bradford as well, wasn't it? They're the only 4 teams that have ever won it. So there needs to be a new team to break the mould, and there needs to be a new team to take the mantle off them.
So come on.
Yeah, exactly.
So never mind retirement.
Yeah.
When you look at our squad, bear in mind shirt numbers have come out today. Is there a chance that you might not even get in 17?
100%. I don't think any player is guaranteed to start at the minute. And O'Brien is obviously my main competition for 9. But then the other Jack Cogger from Newcastle, he can play a bit of 9 as well. And there's young George Roby as well. So there's 4 of us all vying for the 9 position. So
have you trained with George Roby?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, and he is a silky player. He's got some skills on him. Yeah, he's got some skills.
Somebody said he was a bit fiery. Have you come across that yet?
What's that? Sorry, Trevor.
Somebody said he was a bit fiery.
Oh, Roby.
Roby.
He's got a real nice tan and loads of tattoos. So he must be from Wigan or something like that.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'm as pale as they come.
Oh dear. Somebody else was speaking before and they've stopped.
Speak away.
Thought Michael was saying something, but then he stopped, didn't he? When Trevor started speaking.
I have brief flashes of inspiration.
All right.
I hope we've got a good editor for this.
I
You
hope
can
that
get a
sorry
roll on
flashing.
deodorant for that, Michael.
Does Mr. Watson have any plans, and will Salford know them? In other words, I've seen too many times when somebody's been ball in hand inside the opposition 20 and doesn't seem to have a clue what to do with the bloody thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's true. And, well, we didn't seem to have a plan. We didn't seem to have any, we might have been coached well in defence, but we've no idea what to do, how to get through, except by a grubber kick or somebody diving over from acting half-back like under nines when they see the line. Oh, I can score from here. Sorry.
Yeah.
But, I mean, do we have any plans for some really cutting plays to get through the opposition defence?
Well, I don't know if you watched Salford like in previous years when they had quite a lot of trick plays and stuff. And
I try not to. It was about 1970 something when I went to the West in a cup tie, and we were expected to win, and we didn't win. It's 60 something or other. And I came home heartbroken, and I've never liked Salford since then.
Every time we go to Salford, we don't win, do we?
Yeah, we won last year.
We have
last year.
We have
Yeah,
one.
before.
Apart from last year, yeah. Before
Anyway,
we struggled.
I'm sorry. You
What
were
about
saying,
what about when we had polar bears up field?
Yeah, that were good.
I'm sorry. You were answering my question about do we have any
Sorry.
plans? Go on.
so he's got a few trick plays that he's thrown. He's actually introduced a couple of them already. We've not got a full squad training yet. I think we've got the full squad back in tomorrow. So the more players will come in the next couple of weeks, I think. But the main thing is the thing that he's highlighted as well is the top teams when they're in the opposition half. The halfbacks are playing on the back of quick play the balls, and it's okay trying to play a set play when it's a quick play. But if you let the defensive line get set and it's a really slow play the ball, you may as well not do your set play.
Yeah.
So there's a big emphasis on getting that quick play of the ball, so your halfbacks can run at retreating defenders, which is what all the top teams do.
Mm.
The start date's been extended by a couple of weeks, James. Will that have any impact on the pre-season training, do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty gutted, to be honest, Trevor, because it means that we're going to be getting flogged for another 2 weeks.
Oh.
Is it a good thing, though, that he'll give you, like we've got 6 or 7 new lads in for this year, including yourself. Is it a good thing that he'll give you that bit longer to gel with the likes of Caesar when he gets back over? And
Yeah, definitely. And I think I was only joking about getting flogged for an extra 2 weeks. I reckon when we get a bit close to the season, it'll be mainly rugby based. So them extra 2 weeks, like you say, it'll just give us that extra time to gel as a team, because there is quite a few new faces in this year. But also saying that, a lot of the new faces are all mainly middles, aren't they? I mean, we've got me, who's 9, Ashworth front row. I think Greenwood is going to maybe play front row. Josh Jones, loose forward. Yatesy, loose forward. We've only really got Ricky Latelli out in the centres. That's new out wide. So I think the team will gel a lot quicker than everybody thinks.
Are all the overseas players back then?
Yeah, they're all over now, yeah. I don't know if a couple of them have to quarantine because of where they flew in from, but I think they're all over now, yeah.
Richard's shaking his head.
Richard's shaking his head.
Why?
Sorry, Richard.
Well, they're not back. It's simple as that.
Oh.
Didn't you say Cogger got here yesterday?
Cogger's here.
Yeah.
But quarantined. Says he doesn't fly in till I think it's Sunday, and Lou Telly I think it's the Sunday after.
Have you told them it's snowing?
We're 3 short.
3 short. But McQueen's back and over now, isn't he? And Cogger's over as well, yeah.
McQueen's back, but I'm guessing he didn't make it in today because of the snow. But he's here, yeah.
Yeah, he was supposed to be in today. He ended up. We get sent training sessions to do when we're at home as well, and he sent a video in, and he was on a field covered in snow. So I don't think that was Australia. I'm guessing anyway.
He lives in Holmfirth, so I think he'd be training on Holmfirth. He trains on Holmfirth cricket pitch, so I'm presuming he'll be down there. But from where he lives, he would not have got in today. Just how it is, unfortunately. But I think, well, I know those are the dates for the others. The only.
You've gone quiet, Richard.
He's knocked himself off.
We can't hear you.
Sorry, those are the dates for the others. The only question will be if the law changes on what you have to do when you land as to when you'll see them, James, as the reality. Because when Cogger set off, he'd have been in today, and it was only in mid-air that they changed the law on what you've got to do if you come through wherever he came through. So if he'd have been here literally 6 hours sooner, he'd have been all right. It's one of those things, isn't it? And that could change every day, couldn't it? They might stop you coming across the Pennines next, you never know.
We'll sneak him over.
Does Aidan Caesar still live in Manchester somewhere?
No, he lives in Holmfirth.